Commander Thex Raven drummed their fingers against the quantum ship's crystalline control panel, watching the strange readings flicker across the holographic display. The experimental vessel, designation QS Phoenix, hummed with an almost musical resonance as its quantum core processed the astronomical data streaming in from the outer reaches of the solar system. "Well, that's definitely not a comet," Raven muttered, zooming in on the massive collection of objects hurtling toward Earth at speeds that shouldn't have been possible. "Control, are you seeing this?" The quantum communications array crackled with static before Earth Defense Command responded. "Affirmative, Commander. We're tracking approximately 3,000 unknown objects, varying in size from small shuttles to what appear to be capital ships. Initial mass calculations suggest their flagship alone masses more than New York City." "Wonderful. Any chance they're here for a pleasant chat about the weather?" Raven's dry tone made several technicians on the other end chuckle nervously. "Negative, Commander. They're maintaining radio silence and haven't responded to any of our standard greeting protocols." The quantum ship's sensors painted a more detailed picture with each passing moment. The alien Armada moved with an eerie precision, their formations so perfect they seemed almost artificial. Their ships gleamed like polished obsidian, absorbing rather than reflecting light, a stark contrast to the QS Phoenix's translucent quantum crystal hull. "You know," Raven said, running preliminary battle simulations, "when they said this mission was to test the quantum ship's capabilities, I was expecting something more along the lines of dodging asteroids, not playing welcome wagon to the galaxy's largest fleet. Commander, we're detecting energy buildups consistent with weapons charging across their entire fleet." The technician's voice wavered slightly. "Their trajectory and speed suggest they'll reach Earth in approximately 6 hours. Raven leaned back in the neural interface chair, letting out a long breath. The quantum ship's systems merged seamlessly with their consciousness, providing an almost omniscient awareness of their surroundings. "So, let me get this straight. I'm sitting in humanity's only quantum-powered vessel, facing down an alien armada that could probably use Earth as a ping-pong ball, and we have 6 hours before they arrive to either make friends or fight." "That's accurate, Commander." Perfect. Raven's lips curved into a predatory smile. "Always wanted to test this beauty under real combat conditions. Though I doubt the engineers had an alien invasion in mind when they designed her." The QS Phoenix's quantum core pulsed in response to Raven's thoughts, its crystalline structure briefly glowing with an inner light that rippled through the ship like liquid starlight. The vessel might have been experimental, but it represented the pinnacle of human achievement, the successful merger of quantum mechanics and space travel. "Control, I'm moving to intercept. We need to buy Earth more time to prepare, and I'd rather not let them get close enough to see if they can actually use our planet for sports equipment." "Commander, that's suicide. The quantum ship hasn't been fully tested in combat situations. We don't even know if it can handle 3,000 alien vessels." "Guess we're about to find out." Raven's fingers danced across the holographic controls, plotting an intercept course. "Besides, they don't know what this ship can do either. And sometimes the best defense is a really good bluff." The quantum drive spooled up, its distinctive harmonic resonance building to a crescendo. Through their neural link, Raven could feel the ship's excitement, or perhaps it was their own adrenaline bleeding through the interface. "Control, I'm engaging quantum transit. If anyone needs me, I'll be the one playing chicken with an alien armada." The ship's crystalline structure began to shimmer, preparing for its quantum leap. "Oh, and someone might want to wake up the president. Tell them we've got company coming for dinner, and they didn't RSVP." With that final quip, the QS Phoenix vanished in a burst of quantum energy, leaving behind only a fading ripple in space-time and a very worried Earth Defense Command. The game was about to begin, and Raven intended to show these aliens exactly why testing humanity's limits was a terrible idea. The quantum ship reappeared at the edge of Mars orbit, directly in the path of the approaching Armada. As Raven studied the massive fleet through the ship's sensors, they couldn't help but grin. "All right, you oversized space bullies. Let's see how you handle a quantum-powered mosquito in your soup." The alien fleet continued its inexorable advance, seemingly unaware that they were about to encounter the most unconventional defender Earth could have possibly sent to greet them: one human, one experimental ship, and enough sarcasm to fill a small moon. The journey to creating the QS Phoenix began in 2157, when Dr. Axel Chen discovered the quantum resonance effect while attempting to stabilize a failing fusion reactor. What started as a near-catastrophic accident became humanity's greatest technological leap since the discovery of fire. Chen found that certain crystalline structures could harness quantum entanglement on a macroscopic scale, effectively allowing matter to exist in multiple states simultaneously. The global scientific community initially dismissed Chen's findings as impossible. Physics simply didn't work that way, or so they thought. But when Chen demonstrated a pencil existing in two places at once during a controversial TED Talk, even the staunchest skeptics had to admit something extraordinary was happening. Earth's governments, for once, did something unprecedented. They cooperated. The Quantum Advancement Initiative united the world's brightest minds and resources. Within a decade, quantum technology revolutionized everything from computing to energy production. But the Holy Grail remained space travel. Commander Thex Raven watched this transformation from an unlikely vantage point as a commercial cargo pilot turned theoretical physicist. While other pilots scoffed at quantum mechanics, Raven spent their downtime between flights studying advanced mathematics and conducting amateur experiments in their garage. Their unique combination of practical spaceflight experience and theoretical knowledge caught the initiative's attention. The problem with most quantum physicists, Raven once explained to a room full of bristling scientists, is that they think about space like it's a math problem. But when you've spent years dodging asteroids and navigating solar winds, you understand space has a personality. It's got moods. And if we're going to bend it using quantum mechanics, we need to sweet-talk it first. This unconventional philosophy, combined with their exceptional flight record and deep understanding of quantum principles, made Raven the perfect candidate for the QS Phoenix project. While other test pilots approached the quantum ship like a conventional vessel, Raven treated it like a dance partner, one that happened to operate in 11 dimensions simultaneously. The crystalline ship itself represented the culmination of humanity's space exploration history. From the first tentative steps of the Apollo missions to the Mars colonies and the Jupiter mining operations, each advancement contributed to its creation. The vessel's neural interface drew from technology developed for disabled veterans. Its adaptive hull configuration came from studying deep-sea creatures. Even its waste recycling system borrowed principles from Amazon rainforest ecosystems. You see, Raven explained during their first successful quantum jump test, this isn't just a ship. It's humanity's greatest hits album, performed by a quantum orchestra. Every discovery, every failure, every crazy idea some scientist scribbled on a napkin at 3 in the morning, it's all in here. The quantum drive operated on principles that would have made Einstein reach for aspirin. By manipulating the crystalline structure's quantum state, the ship could essentially exist everywhere and nowhere simultaneously. When the quantum waveform collapsed, the vessel would appear at its intended destination, having technically never moved through the intervening space. But the QS Phoenix's most remarkable feature wasn't its faster-than-light capabilities or its nearly indestructible hull. It was the ship's ability to learn and adapt. The quantum crystalline structure exhibited properties eerily similar to neural networks, leading some researchers to speculate that the vessel might be developing its own form of consciousness. Raven neither confirmed nor denied these theories, but those who worked closely with them noticed how the commander spoke to the ship during test flights. Not the way other pilots talk to their vessels with generic platitudes and cursing, but like someone conversing with an old friend who happened to be very good at quantum physics. The ship's development hadn't been without its setbacks. The first prototype inadvertently created a temporary duplicate, Jupiter's moon Europa. The second prototype worked perfectly but refused to rematerialize for 3 days, leading to a very bored test pilot floating in quantum limbo. The third prototype successfully completed all its tests, then turned itself into a swarm of quantum-entangled butterflies. Raven's involvement brought stability to the project. Their intuitive understanding of both practical spaceflight and quantum mechanics helped bridge the gap between theory and application. Under their guidance, the QS Phoenix evolved from an expensive science experiment into humanity's most advanced spacecraft, which made the current situation particularly ironic. The ship, designed to revolutionize peaceful space exploration, was about to face its first combat test against an alien armada. The quantum drive that was supposed to carry humanity to the stars might instead become Earth's last line of defense. But as Raven often said during test flights, the universe has a sense of humor. Sometimes it's just not very funny. The commander's unconventional background had prepared them for this moment in ways no traditional military training could have. Years of navigating treacherous asteroid fields had honed their reflexes. Complex quantum calculations had trained their mind to think in multiple dimensions. Even their brief stint as a stand-up comedian in college might prove useful after all. Timing was everything, whether delivering a punchline or executing a quantum jump between enemy ships. As the alien fleet approached, Raven couldn't help but appreciate the absurdity of the situation. Humanity's future rested on an experimental ship, piloted by someone who once wrote their quantum mechanics dissertation on why Schrödinger's cat would probably just knock the box over. Commander Raven activated all standard communication frequencies as the QS Phoenix hung in space before the approaching Armada. Attention, unidentified fleet. This is Commander Thex Raven of Earth's Defense Force. You're entering protected space. Please state your intentions before I'm forced to do something creative. The response came not in words but in action. 3 smaller vessels broke formation, accelerating toward the quantum ship with weapons charged. Their design reminded Raven of manta rays carved from obsidian, all swooping curves and predatory grace. Right. Creative it is, then Raven interfaced deeper with the ship's quantum systems. Let's show them our party trick. The alien vessels opened fire, their energy weapons cutting purple streams through space. But where their beams should have struck the QS Phoenix, they found only empty vacuum. The quantum ship had fractionally shifted its physical state, existing primarily in a parallel probability where the attacks hadn't quite happened yet. Quantum physics Raven broadcast on all frequencies. Wonderful for dodging awkward conversations and plasma bolts. They punctuated this statement by allowing the ship to snap back into normal space directly between 2 of the alien vessels, close enough to give their sensors a good look at the crystalline hull. The alien ships reacted with remarkable speed, but their coordinated attack pattern revealed a crucial weakness they thought in straight lines. 3-dimensional space was their playground, but the QS Phoenix operated beyond conventional dimensions. Raven exploited this by executing a maneuver that looked physically impossible. The quantum ship appeared to fold through itself, simultaneously existing above, below, and beside the alien vessels. When it reintegrated, the attackers found their targeting systems hopelessly confused, tracking phantom readings across a dozen different vectors. You know, Raven broadcast again, on Earth we have these things called doors. Knocking is considered polite. Less stressful than shooting, they demonstrated this point by quantum shifting next to the largest alien vessel, briefly matching its velocity. See? Friendly conversation. Much nicer. The aliens responded by launching what appeared to be self-guided projectiles, hundreds of them, each about the size of a small car. They moved with artificial intelligence, adapting their trajectories to predict where the QS Phoenix might appear next. Raven whistled. Smart bullets. Cute through the neural interface, they felt the quantum ship's crystalline structure vibrating with what could only be described as excitement. You want to try that new trick we worked out in simulation? Might as well give it a shot. The QS Phoenix's quantum core pulsed, and suddenly the space around the ship became mathematically interesting. Each smart projectile found itself tracking not one target, but an infinite number of quantum possibilities. Half the projectiles froze in confusion. The other half began chasing each other, their targeting systems convinced that every other projectile was actually their quarry. Probability confusion cascade, Raven announced proudly. Works on first dates too. Nobody knows quite where they stand. The main alien fleet had slowed its approach, clearly reassessing the threat posed by this single, impossible vessel. Their initial scans would have shown them a ship that massed less than their smallest support craft, yet it moved with capabilities that defied their understanding of physics. Raven took advantage of their hesitation to execute the next phase of their improvised plan. The QS Phoenix began quantum jumping in a complex pattern around the fleet's perimeter, each jump lasting just long enough to be detected before shifting again. To the alien sensors, it would appear as if they were being surrounded by multiple vessels, all identical, all moving with the same impossible grace. Come on, Raven muttered, watching the alien fleet's reaction through the quantum sensors. Take the bait. Show me how you think. The Armada responded by spreading out, attempting to create a 3-dimensional net that would trap the quantum ship regardless of its jumping pattern. It was a solid strategy for fighting in normal space. But Raven had spent years thinking in quantum probabilities, where the shortest distance between 2 points was through yesterday. They allowed the aliens to almost complete their formation before initiating what the engineering team had dubbed the quantum hiccup. The QS Phoenix briefly existed at every point in its previous jump pattern simultaneously, creating a sensor ghost that made it appear as if space itself was glitching. When the quantum harmonics stabilized, Raven had achieved exactly what they wanted. The alien fleet had revealed their command structure. The way they moved to counter the phantom signals showed clear chains of communication, all leading back to a massive vessel near the center of their formation. Gotcha, Raven grinned. Thanks for the dance lesson. Now, let's see how you handle a change in music. Commander Raven began the next phase of their plan with a quantum jump directly in front of the alien flagship's command viewport. The QS Phoenix's crystalline structure caught the distant sunlight, refracting it into a dazzling display of colors. Not just for show, Raven was testing a theory about alien psychology. Since you're not much for conversation, Raven broadcast, let's try interpretive dance. The quantum ship pirouetted in space, its hull transforming from transparent to mirror bright. Every alien vessel in range suddenly found themselves looking at perfect reflections of their own ships, each image twisted through quantum probability states to show what might happen in the next few moments. The alien fleet's reaction was immediate and revealing. Several ships broke formation, their tight coordination disrupted by the quantum-enhanced reflections. Some fired at their own mirrored images, weapons passing harmlessly through the probability ghosts. Performance anxiety, Raven mused. Interesting, through the neural interface, they sensed the quantum ship processing the aliens' response patterns. Each reaction, each tactical choice, revealed more about their thought processes. They were sophisticated, yes, but also rigid, bound by protocols and hierarchies that made their responses predictable. The QS Phoenix's next move exploited this rigidity. Raven initiated what they privately called the Quantum Waltz, a series of precisely calculated jumps that made the ship appear to be dancing between dimensions. Each jump corresponded to a harmonic frequency in the alien fleet's communication network, creating subtle interference patterns. You see, Raven broadcast, knowing the aliens were analyzing every move. Quantum physics isn't just about being everywhere at once. It's about understanding that reality is more suggestion than rule. To demonstrate, they allowed the QS Phoenix to partially phase out of normal space, its crystalline structure becoming ghost-like and impossible. The alien flagship launched a barrage of energy weapons, each beam calibrated to a different frequency. A standard ship would have been analyzed, targeted, and destroyed. But the QS Phoenix was already shifting through quantum states, each beam passing through where the ship might have been, could have been, or never was. Raven felt the quantum core pulse with something akin to laughter. The ship was learning, adapting, its crystalline neural networks processing the aliens' tactics and developing counters in real time. Together, ship and commander were engaged in a dance of physics and psychology, each move calculated to push the aliens further from their comfort zone. Let's show them something really interesting, Raven whispered to the ship. The QS Phoenix's quantum field expanded, creating a bubble of altered probability. Inside this space, causality became more suggestion than law. The alien ships nearest to the bubble began experiencing time slightly out of sync, their weapons firing microseconds before they gave the command, their course corrections executing before their navigators plotted them. The effect rippled through the alien command structure. Ships began colliding with their own probability shadows, commanders found themselves responding to orders they hadn't yet received, and the rigid hierarchy that governed their fleet began to fray. Probability cascade, Raven announced cheerfully. Side effects may include temporal confusion, existential uncertainty, and a mild case of quantum vertigo. Please consult your local physicist if symptoms persist for more than one reality. The alien flagship launched what appeared to be their elite squadron, 12 ships that moved with more flexibility than the others. They approached in a formation that shifted and flowed like liquid metal, adapting to each of the QS Phoenix's quantum jumps. Now that's more like it, Raven grinned. Finally, someone who knows how to improvise. They guided the quantum ship into a complex series of maneuvers that looked less like combat and more like a challenge. Each jump, each phase shift, each impossible motion was an invitation to match it, to prove they could think beyond their programming. The elite squadron responded, their formation breaking into smaller units that attempted to predict and counter the QS Phoenix's movements. They were learning, adapting, but still bound by conventional physics. And that was exactly what Raven had been waiting for. Time for the finale broadcast. The quantum ship's core reached full resonance, its crystalline structure humming with accumulated potential. In a move that would have made quantum physicists weep, Raven executed what they called the Schrödinger's waltz. The QS Phoenix manifested in multiple quantum states simultaneously, each version real enough to trigger the alien's sensors, but uncertain enough to be untouchable. The alien fleet's coordinated response dissolved into chaos. Their rigid command structure, faced with a threat that defied their fundamental understanding of reality, began to show cracks, and through those cracks, Raven saw their path to victory. Amazing what a little uncertainty can do to a perfectly good invasion they broadcast. Now, shall we discuss that whole entering Earth space uninvited thing, or would you like another physics lesson? Through the quantum ship's enhanced sensors, Raven noticed something peculiar about the alien fleet's behavior. Every time the QS Phoenix performed an impossible maneuver, the alien ships took exactly 2.47 seconds to respond, not approximately exactly. The precision was unnatural, even for advanced aliens. Their networked Raven breathed, the revelation hitting like a quantum surge. Not just coordinated, they're running on shared processing. That's why they can't adapt to quantum uncertainty. They're trying to compute every probability simultaneously. The QS Phoenix's crystalline structure pulsed in agreement, its neural networks having reached the same conclusion. The alien fleet wasn't a collection of individual ships, it was a single distributed system, each vessel acting as a node in a vast computational network. Which means, Raven grinned, we can give them a math problem they can't solve through their neural link. They began configuring the quantum core for something the engineering team had specifically warned against: a deliberate quantum uncertainty cascade. The QS Phoenix's next jump placed it at the exact center of the alien formation. But instead of maintaining a single quantum state, the ship began cycling through states faster than the alien network could process. Each state generated its own set of probabilities, each probability spawned its own set of possible outcomes, and each outcome required computational resources to analyze. Let's see how you handle a little recursive uncertainty, Raven broadcast. The quantum ship's crystalline structure began to vibrate at frequencies that matched the alien fleet's communication harmonics, amplifying the cascade effect. The result was spectacular. Alien ships began firing at quantum ghosts, their targeting systems overwhelmed by an exponentially growing tree of possibilities. The rigid formation that had looked so impressive now worked against them, as confusion propagated through their network at light speed. Fun fact about quantum mechanics: Raven announced on all frequencies, executing a series of impossible maneuvers that further strained the alien system. The more precisely you try to measure one aspect of a particle, the more uncertain other aspects become. You're so focused on predicting where we are, you've forgotten to consider where we're not. The alien flagship launched what appeared to be a last-ditch countermeasure, a field of quantum dampening energy designed to force the QS Phoenix into a single state. It was an impressive display of technology, but it revealed their fundamental misunderstanding of quantum mechanics. You can't force uncertainty to be certain, Raven muttered, feeling the quantum ship's excitement through their neural link. You can only embrace it. They initiated what the engineering team had dubbed the quantum eigenstate cascade, a maneuver that used the alien's own dampening field as a probability multiplier. The QS Phoenix appeared to shatter into countless quantum reflections, each one real enough to trigger the alien fleet's sensors but too uncertain to target. The dampening field, designed to collapse quantum states, instead created a feedback loop that amplified the ship's quantum signature. Alien vessels began colliding with each other as their shared network desperately tried to process the impossible sensor data. Their perfect formation dissolved into chaos as individual ships received conflicting commands from the overwhelmed central system. That's the problem with centralized processing, Raven broadcast, watching the alien fleet's coordination crumble. One quantum wrench in the gears, and the whole machine starts to stumble. Maybe next time try thinking for yourselves. The QS Phoenix executed its final maneuver, a quantum jump that briefly placed it inside its own probability field. To the alien fleet's sensors, it appeared as if space itself was folding, creating a cascade of quantum paradoxes that their network system couldn't resolve. Ships began powering down as their processing nodes overloaded. Others initiated emergency protocols, their systems unable to distinguish between real threats and quantum ghosts. The mighty Armada that had approached Earth with such confidence was now paralyzed by uncertainty. Here's a lesson in human nature, Raven announced, watching the alien fleet's command structure collapse. We thrive on uncertainty. It's not a bug in our programming, it's a feature. We don't need to calculate every possibility to act. Sometimes we just need to trust our instincts and dance with probability. The alien flagship, its network in shambles, began broadcasting a signal that the QS Phoenix's systems translated as a retreat command. The once mighty Armada started backing away from Earth's solar system, their perfect formation now a scattered exodus of confused vessels. And remember, Raven called after them, next time try knocking first. We might even invite you in for coffee, assuming you exist in a state capable of drinking it. The quantum ship's core hummed with satisfaction as they watched the alien fleet retreat. Humanity's first major interstellar confrontation had been won not through superior firepower or overwhelming force, but through the creative application of uncertainty itself. As the last alien ships vanished into deep space, Commander Raven kept the QS Phoenix's quantum sensors at full power, monitoring for any signs of deception. The crystalline ship hummed with residual energy from the encounter, its neural networks processing the wealth of data they'd gathered about their mysterious adversaries. Control. This is Commander Raven, they broadcast back to Earth. You're not going to believe what just happened. Actually, scratch that. Given quantum mechanics, you might believe it happened in several different ways simultaneously. The response from Earth Defense Command was a mixture of relief, disbelief, and barely contained excitement. Raven's unconventional battle had been monitored by every sensor array humanity possessed, and the implications were staggering. Commander, the Chief of Defense spoke personally. Your encounter has just rewritten our understanding of both quantum physics and xenopolitics. The aliens' retreat is broadcasting across every frequency we can detect. They're sending what appears to be a warning to others about Earth's reality-defying capabilities. Raven couldn't help but laugh. Reality-defying? We just showed them that reality has more dance moves than they expected through their neural link. They sensed the quantum ship's agreement, a subtle resonance that felt almost like pride. The aftermath of the encounter spread through human space like a quantum probability wave. Research teams began analyzing the battle data, discovering that the QS Phoenix's quantum fluctuations had inadvertently created a new form of space-time communication. The alien fleet's network consciousness, while ultimately their weakness, provided insights into artificial intelligence that advanced human computer science by decades. But perhaps most significantly, humanity's position in the galaxy had shifted fundamentally. The aliens' retreat broadcast had reached far beyond Earth's solar system, carrying with it tales of a species that could bend reality itself. The message was clear: humanity wasn't just another emerging civilization to be conquered. They were something unprecedented. You know what the real victory was? Raven mused during the official debriefing. We didn't just show them superior technology. We showed them a different way of thinking. While they tried to compute every possibility, we embraced uncertainty and turned it into an advantage. The quantum ship was immediately commissioned for a series of diplomatic missions, its very existence serving as both an olive branch and a reminder of humanity's capabilities. Other alien civilizations, receiving the retreat broadcast, began reaching out to Earth not with threats, but with proposals for cultural and scientific exchange. Commander Raven remained the QS Phoenix's pilot, though they insisted their greatest achievement wasn't the battle itself. The ship, they explained, taught us as much as we taught it. Every quantum jump, every impossible maneuver, was a conversation between human intuition and quantum possibility. We learned to dance with uncertainty, and that's a lesson the whole galaxy might need. As Earth prepared for its new role in galactic politics, the QS Phoenix's crystalline structure was studied and replicated, leading to a new generation of quantum vessels. But none quite matched the original's peculiar blend of quantum physics and personality, a trait Raven attributed to its unique experience of learning to think beyond conventional possibility. The future, Raven told a graduating class of quantum ship pilots, isn't about who has the biggest fleet or the most advanced weapons. It's about who can adapt, who can think creatively, and who's willing to embrace the beautiful uncertainty of existence. Also, they added with a grin, it helps if you know how to make an alien armada question its understanding of reality. The galaxy had learned a crucial lesson about humanity that day. They were a species that didn't just survive uncertainty, they thrived in it. And that, perhaps, was the most quantum phenomenon of all.